fragile ceasefire requires more talks with warring parties. The Arab Parliament stressed the need to pressure Houthis to abide by truce. Massamdi mining project announces removal of Zaran landmines during a week. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Injil Zazi. The Houthi militia has brought the truce to a dead end. They have made thousands of violations on the ground, which reinforced the conviction of the Yemenis that there is no peace without deterrence. For more on the possible ways to renew the truce, here is the following report.
Since the end of the UN-brokered truce last October, Iran has been supplying the Houthis, and the U.S. Navy detained many ships that were smuggling missile fuel, assault rifles, and other weapons. The rebels are also establishing their political position, most recently by announcing new regulations that limit women's rights and movement. They also keep blocking oil exports, depriving it of important revenues. Also, they are hindering the work of humanitarian agencies, limiting access to millions of Yemenis in dire need. About 33 million people depend on humanitarian aid in Yemen, and 4.3 million people are displaced. The head of the UN's humanitarian agency has complained about the Houthis' interference, claiming that the problem is especially severe in Houthi-controlled areas, where authorities frequently try to compel the selection of specific contractors, restrict the travel of aid workers, or otherwise try to influence aid operations. The demand in Yemen is very high. By the end of 2022, 17.8 million Yemenis lacked access to services for safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene, and 17 million experienced food insecurity, according to the UN World Food Programme. The food insecurity was at emergency level for more than 6.1 million people. UN Special Envoy for Yemen Hans Grunberg stated that he continues to work with both sides to find solutions and to urge them to demonstrate the leadership and flexibility required to reach extended agreements. To renew the truce, the Houthis must start direct negotiations with other Yemeni stakeholders, such as the government. Currently, there are negotiations with the Saudis through Omani intermediaries. According to the UN, the war has resulted in millions of displaced people, hundreds of thousands of deaths, and put a large portion of the population on the verge of famine. The international community should intensify efforts to reach a political settlement, or else people in Yemen will continue to suffer.
The Arab Parliament renewed its full support for Yemen and its institutions. The Arab Parliament also renewed the warning against the blackmail of the Houthi militia, stressing the need of continuing all forms of pressure in order to force the Houthis to return to peace and negotiations. This report has more on this.
The Arab Parliament renewed its full support for the Republic of Yemen and its legitimate institutions under the leadership of the Presidential Leadership Council and the efforts of the PLC in negotiations aimed at establishing peace, ending the coup, and restoring legitimacy. In its statement regarding the situation in Yemen, following the work of its session in Cairo, the Arab Parliament condemned the continuous Iranian interference in Yemen's internal affairs by continuing its support for the terrorist Houthi militia and its opposition of all efforts which are being exerted in order to get Yemen out of the crisis, and its insistence on prolonging the war in the region and endangering regional and international peace and security. The Arab Parliament affirmed its support for all Arab and international efforts aimed at reaching a comprehensive political solution that ended the Yemeni crisis according to the three terms of reference, in order to reach a permanent ceasefire and make way for political settlement efforts and renewing the truce. The Arab Parliament also renewed the warning against the danger of yielding to the blackmail of the Houthi militia, ignoring its continuous violations of human rights and its indifference to the worsening humanitarian situation in Yemen, stressing the necessity of continuing all pressures on the Houthi militia in order to force it to return to the Houthi militia with the aim of imiting the state's administrative apparatus through the so-called behavioral code of conduct, which excludes skaters who are not loyal to the co-militia from their jobs. It reiterated its appeal to all Arab countries and international humanitarian organizations to continue providing the necessary material and humanitarian support, especially to the displaced Yemenis, with the aim of securing their basic needs.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs discussed with the Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates the bilateral relations that bind the two countries together and to develop and enhance them. The Foreign Minister also discussed with the Emirati Ambassador the developments taking place in the country and the international and regional efforts aimed at extending the truce in order to achieve a just and peace. For his part, the Emirati Ambassador expressed the strength of the relations between the two countries. Arab coalition denied allegations by the Iranian-backed Houthi militia that the coalition carried out attacks on border areas in Saada Governorate. A statement published by the Saudi press agency quoted the spokesman for the joint forces as saying that the Houthi allegations of border shelling are baseless. Militia-affiliated media published the allegations of artillery shelling by Saudi forces, which left wounded people in two border districts. The Sanctions Committee on Yemen will hold a meeting with the expert group next Friday to discuss the team's final report. The committee was established by the Security Council, and its mission is to supervise the sanctions measures imposed by the Council on entities and individuals who commit acts that threaten peace and security in Yemen.
Along Yemen's coastline, UNDP's support to replace equipment and provide financial grants enables the re-establishment of a centuries-old industry, fisheries. Once Yemen's second most valuable export after oil and gas, the blue economy has the potential to help rejuvenate the economy and provide a valuable food source to millions of food-insecure Yemenis.
قبل ما نستلم الماكينة كان الوضع يعلم بهالله، بس كان الوضع متعب، ماكينة تعبانة، نسرح ونضوج، شغلك محصور. والآن الحمد لله بعد ما استلمت الماكينة ده العمل ريض، وانا بت بعيد وقريب، وانا مبسوط لي مطمن من المحرك اللي معي، انا عاطينا الامان كامل.
UNDP helps fisherfolk reduce operational costs, limit fuel consumption, and increase daily catch. As the changing climate and marine ecosystems demand more flexibility, modern equipment and new skills help fisherfolk to navigate unpredictable weather safely and limit their impact on an already fragile sea environment.
A joint meeting of the local authority in Hodeidah and the security services approved a number of measures to enhance security and stability in Yemen. The meeting discussed increasing the role of judicial authority and judicial control to achieve peace in the liberated areas of the governorate. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees said that more than 74% of the displaced families are women and children. The organization stated that it provides families across Yemen with protection, such as psychological and social support. According to previous UN reports, the number of people displaced in Yemen has reached more than 4 million people. A citizen was killed as violent clashes broke out between two military factions near Taiz University. According to a local source, violent clashes broke out between the two factions near Taiz, which resulted in the killing of a person while he was inside his house. The Houthi militia planted mines and explosive devices of various types throughout the areas under their control. Human rights reports indicated that the Houthi militia has planted more than 2 million mines, killing and injuring more than 20,000 civilians. This report has more on this.
Yemen has been suffering from the landmines planted by the Houthis over the past years. This is happening as a result of repeated political and military conflicts that have provoked instability. As the conflict between the Houthis and the Yemeni government becomes more violent, mine laying increases intensely. In Yemen, mines are laid randomly, which makes the process of removing them extremely difficult. According to the Civilian Impact Monitoring Project, a humanitarian data source, landmines planted in farmlands, villages, wells, and roads have killed at least 140 civilians, including 19 children, in Hodeidah and Taiz governorates since 2018. In January, Massam demining project removed 1,045 mines in Yemen. Massam also cleared 15 anti-personnel mines, 131 anti-tank mines, 896 unexploded ordnance, and 3 other explosive devices in Al-Dala, Shabwa, Hodeidah, and Taiz. Since the beginning of the Saudi project Massam, a total of more than 300,000 Houthi mines have been cleared since it started in 2018. The mines in Yemen pose a serious danger on the lives of the Yemeni people, despite all the efforts made to remove them. In addition, Houthis continued to plant the explosives in spite of the nationwide truce that ended on October 2022. According to Yemeni demining experts, over 1 million landmines have been laid since the civil war began in late 2014, when the Houthi militia took control of the capital Sana'a. Houthi mines continue to threaten the present and future of Yemenis, at a time when the world turns a blind eye to this forgotten terrorism perpetrated by the Iranian-backed Houthi militia.
The security services in Al-Mahra governorate seized a disguised shipment that included parts of drones smuggled to the Houthis. A security source indicated that the shipment was destined for Sana'a, for the Iranian-backed Houthi militia. Coming next. Houthi youth initiatives in Ma'rib attempt to revive the city's unique heritage.
أبي مات في شارع 40 دحين أنا أشقى على أسرتي مع باقي اللي أنا أصرف عليهم كل شيء. أنا اسمي أنس غصيب سيف، عمري 12 سنة. أنا أشتغل بورشة حديد من الساعة 7 للساعة 6. أحيانا أسرع، أحيانا أقص، أحيانا أرنق، أحيانا أنقش، أي حاجة أنا أعمل. لا الساعة لما تبدأ الساعة 6 أوقف. أنا وقفت الدراسة عشان ما فيش أحد يشقى على أسرتي، أدرس إخواني الباقي. من هون 4 وأنا الخامس. أحلم إن أفتح ورشة أبي وأشقى على أسرتي وأندي لهم مصاري. وأدرس إخوتي الآخر الجامعات وأطبخ أي شيء.
Welcome back. The recruitment of children by the Houthi militia is a challenge to the United Nations, in addition to confirming the militia's lack of seriousness in achieving peace. The Houthi militia annually establishes centers as part of its activity in attracting and recruiting school students. This report has more.
The Iran-backed Houthi rebels continue to recruit child soldiers into their military ranks to fight in the country's grinding civil war. The United Nations stated that at least 3,774 children have been killed in Yemen's civil war between March 2015 and September 2022. The agency said that all the figures it has produced are likely much higher. According to the latest statistics published by the United Nations Children's Fund, a further 7,245 children have been maimed in the conflict, which has pitted Iran-backed Houthi rebels against a Saudi Arabian-led coalition supporting Yemen's internationally recognized government for the past 8 years. Catherine Russell, UNICEF's executive director, stated that if the children of Yemen are to have any chance of a decent future, then the parties to the conflict, the international community, and all those with influence must ensure they are protected and supported. Houthi rebels have openly recruited child soldiers, many through summer camps, in which it spreads its religious ideology to young boys. Houthi officials admitted that its rebel force has recruited some boys as young as age 10, arguing that boys of this age are considered men. Moreover, they have widely used landmines, a weapon that has killed at least 74 children across Yemen between July and September this year. They said the rebels have pressured families to send their children to camps where they learn how to handle weapons and plant mines, in return for services including food rations from international organizations. Thousands of civilian and child deaths have also been blamed on Saudi-led airstrikes, which have hit markets, weddings, funerals, residential homes and hospitals. In 2018, an airstrike hit a bus carrying children on their way to school in northern Yemen, killing more than 40 young boys. Yemen's ruinous conflict has killed in excess of 150,000 people, including over 14,500 civilians, according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. The fighting has thrown Yemen into one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, pushing it into deeper poverty and near famine.
The local authorities in Ma'rib Governorate said that they have opened a project to provide clean water to thousands of displaced people in 4 camps. According to Ma'rib Governor, the project is built with a cost of $600,000 funded by King Salman Center and implemented by the International Organization for Migration in Yemen. Ma'rib Heritage constitutes a historical and civilized identity that its people are proud of. Youth and women's community initiatives present this heritage to people in beautiful and interesting ways. This report has more.
Here on one of the streets of the city of Ma'rib, this woman draws the attention of many citizens with the beautiful things she presents that carry the customs and traditions of the people of Ma'rib and the heritage rooted through decades in their lives. A small tent and popular food in addition to Ma'riban clothing that bears in its folds the hospitality and generosity of the people of Ma'rib, which is considered one of their most prominent ancient customs and is still touching those who set foot on this land and other things that were greatly admired by visitors.
These are the products I'm selling here. Every piece and every item represents the history and culture of Yemen as a country and its people. Those products reflect our traditions and heritage that we should be proud of and be able to show it to everyone around the world.
The societal roles of the people of Ma'rib have blossomed by showing all the customs and traditions of the residents of the governorate. And the role of the concerned authorities has been absent in showing this heritage, as youth and women's initiatives have been highlighting what the people of Ma'rib have inherited and the details of their beautiful daily life. To give a picture that bears all these details of the displaced and the people of their provinces about the city of history and civilization and change. The stereotype that was reversed from it several eras ago, as today it has become an integral part of the life of Yemenis in a city that embraced all spectrums of Yemeni governorates.
The initiatives that are taking place these days to show and represent the heritage of Ma'rib are very important and have a great role in educating and informing people about their country's history and raise their awareness. It is very nice for people to preserve their heritage and origin. This initiative incorporates cultural products, novels, performances and arts that shape the identity of the people of Ma'rib and its history.
Hardly a short period of time passes except that we find different manifestations in Maghreb that vary between local dances and clothes, or activities that embody originality and introduce people to the customs and traditions of the people of Maghreb. Many have behaviors and habits that they are used to and are almost part of their daily lives.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. Fragile ceasefire requires more talks with warring parties. The Arab Parliament stressed the need to pressure Houthis to abide by peace. Massam demining project announces removal of Tharan landmines during a week. This is the end of the news. It was Injil Zazi, and thank you for watching.